All right, it is on. So before we begin, I'll just state for the record that today is February 25th, 2020, and my name is Ben Bauman. I'm here with Bill Frazier in his home in Muncie, Indiana, and we are doing an interview for the Indiana Oral History Initiative. So to begin, could you tell me when and where you were born?
Yeah, I was born on November the 8th, in 1936 at Ball Memorial Hospital, where my mother was a registered nurse at the time.
Okay.
And our residence was in Albany, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
So that's
Interesting.
as far as the hometown was concerned.
Yeah,
the
okay.
hospital obviously is in Muncie, so
Right.
that's where I was born.
Okay. What were your parents' names?
My mother's name was Dorothy Alice Schellenbarger Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
And my father's name was Francis Aaron Frazier.
Okay. And where was your family from originally? How long have they been in Indiana, for example?
Well, since the 1700s.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So we've got a family history. It goes back to about 1,000. Well, I think 530 is the oldest records that we can find.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
We came out of the Cherbourg portion of France
Ah, okay.
and migrated from there up into Scotland,
Yeah.
and then from Scotland here to the United States.
Wow. Yeah.
And they were basically come into the East Coast like most immigrants of that time,
Sure.
you know, probably the 1600s, and
Right.
wound up in North Carolina, and they were Quakers as far as the religion was concerned, and very much opposed to slavery, so they didn't stay that long in the Carolinas, and they migrated then to Indiana.
Wow. Okay.
And participated in the Underground Railroad.
Wow.
The black people from out of the South up through Randolph County and up into Canada for refuge.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. What were your parents' occupations?
My dad was basically raised on a farm, but he was a businessman. He ran a parts distributing company, auto parts,
Oh, okay.
back in the late 20s and through the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, up until his death, and had an auto parts distributing company.
Oh, okay.
Covered most of eastern Indiana,
Interesting.
from headquartered in Albany.
Yeah.
My mother was of course a housewife, and had a mother of 3 children and a registered nurse working at Ball Memorial Hospital,
Oh, okay. Wow.
and helped in the business as well back in the early days.
Wow. Okay. Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother named John A. Frazier. He lives in Florida, and he's retired. And then I have a sister, Mary Alice Frazier Ellison, surname. She has a kind of a hotel restaurant combination in West Point, Kentucky, just east of Fort Knox.
Okay.
And she's retired now, of course.
Right.
And then I have one deceased brother who died as an infant, David Allen Frazier,
Okay.
is his name.
Interesting. Okay. How would you describe your childhood?
This house?
Your childhood?
Oh, my childhood.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a wonderful childhood. Yeah, with great, storybook parents.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't ask for anything nicer than my parents.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate to have good grandparents. We spent a lot of time with them. Very Christian-based people.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother's father, William Schellenbarger, was a devout Christian man who spent a lot of counseling with his neighbors. I can remember that as a child. And just had good uncles, aunts. No real vices that I'm aware of. My granddad did chew tobacco.
Okay.
But as far as any problems with
Sure.
the law or anything like that, we'd never been into those situations
Right.
as a family.
Sure.
That I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, absolutely. Who would you say was the most influential person in your childhood?
Well, probably my mother and my father.
Yeah, okay.
For sure. And grandparents, as I indicated earlier.
Yeah.
You know, they were good, solid people and knew the correct values as mankind should follow and biblically based. So
Right.
they pretty hard to go wrong when you got a foundation like that.
Of course. Yeah.
Those are my most influential
Yeah.
people that I've been around. And had a lot of contacts with family, uncles and aunts and so forth.
Okay, great. What understanding, if any, did you have about your family's political beliefs as a child?
Well, we weren't a so-called political family back
Okay.
when we grew up. You know, the World War II was a big deal.
Right.
And, I lost a second or third cousin or two in the Second War. I remember going to their funerals. So basically, I had no family. Well, my great-grandfather was a Republican, either a county councilman or a commissioner in Blackford County, just north of here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I remember him. I was 10 years old when he passed away. So I was fortunate to be able to know three of my great-grandparents on
Wow.
the Frazier side. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Remember them well.
Yeah, that's very
Back
rare.
in those days, the old folks would stay with the children for a month
Right. Okay.
and then move along to the next sibling or child that
Mm-hmm.
helped look after them before the days of nursing homes and so forth.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's the way it was back in the 20s and 30s
Right.
when I grew up, and even the 40s. The old
Interesting.
folks would spend time with you, so we get to know our great-grandparents there pretty well.
Yeah.
And my folks took their turn of looking after my great-grandmother.
Wow. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. What schools did you attend as a child and as a teenager?
Yeah, Albany High School, of course, a grade school, all 12 years back in those days in the same building.
Okay.
And that's basically it in the little town of Albany over here,
Oh, okay. Sure.
just northeast of Muncie.
How would you describe your educational experiences there?
Well, I wasn't what you would call probably a very studious student.
Okay.
I was more interested in being on the farm than
Yeah.
studying in school. And
Sure.
I have gotten a couple college degrees though in my
Yeah. Okay.
later years, but
Sure.
and a strong believer in education. Like I said, my wife and I have a foundation where we provide scholarships for high school students that wants to go on to college for studying nursing, farming, whatever they want to study. We help provide some financial support to them.
Okay.
We have several nurses, and we've
Right.
been doing that for more than 25 years,
Yeah.
I guess. And
Right.
Called the Frazier Foundation.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Wow. That's neat.
So anyway, that's the high school part. I always could have done better, I'm sure, if I'd have applied myself more. But we've been reasonably successful, I guess, and might have been more so had we worked a little harder in school.
Okay. Fair enough.
But we were able to get through and get through college and all. So
Yeah. Yeah. It worked out.
a lot of patience from the part of the teachers too. And we had some good teachers too. I can call every teacher I've had by name. I remember, so they did make an impression on you.
Okay. Yeah.
Back in those days, we had prayer in public school and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things that I guess is not allowed today.
Right. Sure.
So very patriotic, the pledge and all those things.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're doing all that in public schools.
Right, yeah.
They do in private and Christian schools.
Sure.
We sent our kids to a school called Heritage Hall here in Muncie.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. And they've been very successful
Yeah.
in their lives and
That's
through
great.
college. And my son graduated from Heritage Hall and went on to Purdue and got with honors there and received his master's degree in engineering
Wow.
and aviation. He's a certified flight instructor now and,
Wow,
and
okay.
has an airport or an air, it's an ATP, air transport certificate to fly,
Wow, that's great.
which is the PhD for flying.
Yeah. Well, how?
I have a commercial license, so he had to outdo me.
Okay.
He's got
Naturally, okay.
ATP, yeah.
Yeah.
And he teaches people to fly airplanes. So.
Oh, that's great.
And the other son works for ILOHI. He was on a nuclear submarine in the Navy and an aircraft
Wow.
carrier, so
Wow.
he did pretty well coming out of
Yeah. Sounds like it.
the private, so-called, they're not really private schools, but
Sure.
Christian-based schools,
Yeah.
high schools.
That's amazing.
And our youngest daughter's a pediatrics intensive care specialist, does neonatal
Wow.
work, and she has her master's degree there. And
Yeah.
And the other daughter runs a very successful construction business,
Okay.
and with her son.
Amazing.
So the kids turned out pretty well.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. And what are your kids' names?
The oldest is Annette,
Mhm.
Joan Annette Steen, and she's the one that's in the building business.
Okay.
And the next daughter is Susan Carol Hardis. She's the medical person. And then the oldest son is William Nicholas. He's the guy that works for Eli Lilly. And the other son's William Michael Frazier. He's the engineer and
Sure. Okay.
airline pilot. No, doesn't
Yeah.
work for the airlines, but that's what his ratings are.
Right. Okay. Great.
And a flight instructor. That's what and he's helping me do the farm. I'm not able to do
Okay.
that anymore.
Of course.
So.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So when you were in school, did you have any favorite subjects at all, or
Well, not really. I guess recess is probably my
recess?
favorite.
Okay. Yeah. I can understand that.
But no, I had we had some very good teachers in our high school, and
Yeah.
it was a small group. I think my class was might have been 12 or 13,
Oh.
14
Wow.
students in
Yeah,
the graduating class.
So very small.
And yeah, we had people very dedicated and principal teachers.
Mhm.
And again, we could have, if I'd applied myself more in high school, there I would have probably had a little easier time in
Sure.
college and all that.
Okay.
We made it. We got through.
Yeah. Seems like it. Yeah. Were you involved in any extracurricular activities?
Oh yeah, I played basketball and ran track.
Oh, okay. Wow.
We didn't have a track team per se and cross country team in Albany, so I participated with the Muncie Central High School in Muncie.
Okay.
I was able to run cross country meets with them.
Yeah.
So
Great.
I didn't do baseball. I was always on the farm in the spring
Right. Yeah. Makes
working
sense.
in
Okay. So as a child, what were your views about the state of Indiana, or about being a Hoosier?
Oh, not much. I never gave it a lot of thought. You know, you're interested in growing up, doing your thing.
Sure.
Mine was working at the farm and
Right. Naturally. Yeah.
that type of thing. Never really got in politics at all till after were married and got to earning some money and realized that the tax burden was pretty excessive, especially real estate taxes, because I did own some farmland.
Right.
And
Okay.
it just kept increasing all the time. And
Yeah.
so that's what really prompted me to get into politics and
Sure.
try to revise the tax system in this state,
Right. Right.
which we finally got some tax relief done with from Otis Bowen and Ed Whitcomb and some of the governors and some of the people in the legislature were interested in doing it, and finally got that accomplished. But
Yeah.
they're still pretty rough to make it on the farm today with the tax bill and
Sure.
all the other
Yeah.
difficulties you have just making ends meet,
Right.
trying to raise livestock and
Yeah.
grain farming.
A lot of work.
A lot of challenges, yeah.
Yeah. So where did you attend college?
I went right into the military right after
Okay.
high school,
Okay.
and took some classes at the University of North Carolina while I
Okay.
was there,
Interesting.
and a couple small colleges around the area in Fort Bragg,
Okay.
Campbell College and so forth, and then came back and went to Ball State, graduated from there, and then I've attended Purdue, got several hours of study at Purdue.
Oh, okay. Great.
Don't have a degree from there, but
Right.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I still go to class when I get a chance, and
Nice.
whenever there's
Yeah.
things offered for farmers or whatever, I try to
Sure.
take time to make attend.
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
far from here to the Purdue
Yeah.
campus.
True.
Pretty good drive, but
Yeah.
we were in good weather to fly the airplane over there.
Yeah.
Saves a little time.
That's right. That's true.
And it gives me an excuse to fly.
Yeah. A little bit faster that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great though that you still go to class.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
matter of fact, I was in a class maybe a year ago or so,
Okay.
relative to livestock and so forth,
Yeah.
marketing, and so I try to stay up to date. Yeah.
Right. That's fantastic. What was your degree in from Ball State?
Just general studies.
Okay, general
Yeah,
studies.
yeah.
Okay.
And Purdue, I studied as agriculture economics, basically, and
Okay.
worked with some real sharp professors up there. My son still, of course, he has his master's from Purdue in engineering, but he's working closely with the animal departments up there, the veterinary parts,
Sure.
and animal husbandry, that type of thing. We feed and raise Black Angus
Oh, okay.
brood cows, yeah.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
if you got time, I'll take you down to the farm.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
It depends. Yeah. But that would be fun to see.
So that's what we do, and then we're staying in touch with the schools. And he works with 2 or 3 of the universities. I think he's working with one out in maybe Illinois and Nebraska and other places that are doing studies on what we do at the farm.
Right.
And we're
Sure.
glad to have the participation of farmers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's great. So when you graduated from Ball State, were you planning then going back to the farm and working? That was
Oh yeah,
that was your goal,
always
right?
good,
Yeah.
yes, uh-huh.
Were you involved in any extracurricular activities at Ball State at all? Or?
No, we were basically, I was in the mobile home community business. We built commonly known trailer parks, that type of thing. And I sold mobile homes to the general public
Okay.
several years.
Right.
That's what I did to
Okay.
earn the bulk of our income,
Sure.
because we sure didn't earn it from farming.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a tough road.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah. How did you view your college experiences?
Say that again.
How did you view your college experiences?
Oh, college? Well, it was interesting. I spent a little time in a dorm in the Carolinas. I didn't appreciate that. It was pretty rough.
Okay.
There's a lot of just confusion, things that just
Yeah.
annoyed people. I was a little older too.
Okay.
So,
Sure.
and being a
Yeah.
sergeant and a paratrooper in the Army was a little tough.
Yeah. It's a little bit of an adjustment.
Put up with the young
College kids, yeah.
you know?
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I can see that.
So I didn't have a traditional college experience, I
Right.
guess you might say.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
In what ways did your awareness of politics change as you got older?
Well, it was again, the onset was the fact that we were being taxed like excessively in
Right.
real estate, and we needed to readjust a lot of the burden for taxes was because of schools, education. A lot of it was placed on real estate.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And, I felt it ought to be more evenly distributed. You know, it wasn't just farmers that went to school.
Right, of
So
course.
we had a lot of people, you know, that worked other places, and
Yeah.
I wanted them to kind of share the burden. So we
Yeah.
tried to shift it around. Had a sales tax, which I wasn't really supportive of, but
Mm-hmm.
they enacted that. And
Okay.
so that was my prime motivation to get into
Right.
politics.
Okay. And were your parents supportive of that?
Oh yes, but then they were, again, I'd had, you know, a family and was more or less growing up by that point, you know.
Right, of course.
So they didn't object to it. I'm
Right.
not sure they were that happy about it because I funded most of my campaigns myself.
Okay,
And
yeah.
that was, that's expensive.
Yeah, financial risks involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after high school and college, is that when you got into the mobile home business as well as you're doing farming?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, to help support my agricultural enterprise. I
Yeah,
had to
okay.
do something else.
Right, sure. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
And so when did you get married?
1956,
Okay. And remind me, what's your wife's name?
Joan.
Joan. Okay.
Yeah, she's a honor graduate from Ball State. And
Oh, okay.
taught school,
Oh, fantastic.
so she's kind of the brains of the family.
Yeah, okay.
And she helped me in the businesses and
Yeah.
ran the office, that type of thing,
Sure.
computers.
Yeah,
And
that's
she
great.
was my co-pilot too in the airplane a lot.
Oh,
When we
wow.
flew.
That's
So,
great.
but till she got problems with this neurological issue she has. so
Sure. Yeah.
Has to have nursing care now around the clock.
Right. Right. Yeah. Let's see. Did your family have an influence in your politics at all? Like, were your children did they have an interest in you when you were in the general assembly?
Not really. They never
Okay.
pushed it one way or the other, but they were, I would say you'd classify them under the conservative umbrella.
Sure.
Again, being a lot of this biblically based, that's a lot of the foundation, and
Right.
you know, being issues like the abortion thing and a lot
Sure.
of the more liberal, progressive type issues of the day is
Right.
not something they supported at all.
Right. Yeah.
My mother, you know, being a nurse and then
Of course. Yeah.
trying
Makes
to
sense.
preserve life rather than
Yes.
write
Right.
it out.
Yeah, I can see where they would get that outlook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, but never, they didn't, what you say, push me one way or the other.
Okay.
They gave me some good support.
Yeah. Let's see. Did you have any national political heroes or state or local political heroes?
Well, I've worked, I've met most of the presidents since Harry Truman,
Oh, okay.
and not all of them, but most.
Yeah.
And actually worked with Ronald Reagan. We've got a lot of video, him and I together, and,
Okay. Yeah.
which I'll have available at some point. And
Yeah.
you might have an interest in that.
That would be very interesting. Yeah.
And
That's,
if I had someone to run my computer, I could show you some.
yeah.
You know, I'm sitting between he and George Bush Sr.
Right.
in a couple of meetings we had. And,
Yeah.
yeah, and I worked with him basically on Star Wars.
Right. That's what I read.
I
Yeah.
helped promote that.
Yeah.
So with a couple of the generals and sing along.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
that
very
was interesting.
interesting.
So I've been in the White House a lot.
Yeah. You must have been. Yeah.
Yeah, met Ford, and Nixon,
Uh huh.
and then the latest connection I had is Trump's people
Uh huh.
gave me a call a couple of years ago,
Oh, really?
wanted me to do some projects with them, and,
Wow.
but with my wife's condition and all, and
Right.
we decided to I better stick around here.
That's hard, yeah.
Because I've already had the White House experience, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Sounds like you've been there quite a bit.
Yeah, we've been to the Capitol a lot. We've met some interesting characters up there, believe me.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. I bet you have. Wow. Let's see, so...
And back to politics, you know, we've been nominated for Congress. I've kind of lost track several times.
Right.
And was never able to beat the incumbent, my old buddy Phil Sharp.
Okay.
I won several primaries over a lot of the Republican opposition. That didn't bode well. I think some of those people didn't vote for me or voted for Phil Sharp in the fall elections.
Yeah. Okay.
Came close a time or two, but that don't count in politics.
That's true. That's right.
Yeah.
Either win or lose. Yeah.
Spent a lot of money, and I've met a lot of good people over the time. You know, had a lot of support, you know, throughout. Won a lot of counties. You know, there were 10, 12, 15 counties in a congressional district.
Right.
Like right now, this 6th district runs from here, from Delaware County, clear to the Ohio River.
Okay.
To give you an idea of how large the districts are.
Yeah. That is pretty big.
We had some interesting debates
Okay.
and so forth, yeah.
Yeah, I bet you did, yeah.
And matter of fact, in 2000, I lost the general election to Mike Pence because I ran as an independent.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I was an independent. Mike was the Republican, and Rock from Anderson, was a lawyer from there, was a Democrat.
Right.
And Mike came out real good. He got 52% of the vote, I think, which was good.
Yeah, that's a lot, yeah.
So anyway, that's a little
Yeah.
niche in history there.
That is interesting, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And we're good friends. Matter of fact, I've got a recording I'll play for you in a little bit here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If I can find someone to run my computer.
Yeah, and I understand, yeah.
Yeah, we're good friends and no
Interesting.
animosities at all.
Yeah, wow, okay.
But the big reason that I ran for an independent is over the issue of NAFTA.
Oh,
We
okay.
all hear a lot about NAFTA, see?
Yeah.
And finally Trump has done something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very much opposed to that because I could see what it did to the workforce in East Central Indiana.
Right,
The
right.
factories we've lost them all.
Yeah,
They all moved
Yep.
to Mexico or
that's right,
China.
yeah.
And that really hurt a lot of acquaintances that I had
Oh, I bet,
here because of
definitely.
good paying jobs were gone.
Sure.
So, and it was a very unfair arrangement that we had early on. Some of the farmers even liked it, but I never thought it was a fair trade agreement
Right,
in its original form.
yeah,
And Trump has adjusted that to where it's equitable now
sure.
to both sides. So instead
Yeah.
of we really taking it on the chin, the United States was, and
Right,
rather than unfair trade practices. So
yeah. Yeah.
that's why I'm an very avid supporter of Trump
Mm-hmm. Sure.
and doing everything I can to get him reelected.
Right, yeah.
He's doing what I wanted to do,
Yeah, well, yeah.
running for Congress.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that makes sense, absolutely. When you were running your campaign for the General Assembly, did you have a particular strategy at all, or?
no, not really. Obviously, not one that was successful because I didn't win
Oh,
in
well,
the general election. You know,
right, the general election.
I won primaries.
Right.
You know, I won not every primary, but almost every primary that I really put an effort in to get the nomination.
Right, of course.
So that's where I got acquainted with a lot of people in national politics, was the
Yeah.
fact that I was a congressional nominee. And
Right. And when it came to the state legislature, did you have a strategy at all for that? When you
not
were in the
really,
Senate, or-
just worked hard and got my name out and had a lot of help. The Ball family was very helpful to and helping me with my campaign and
Yeah.
helping mailings, and a lot
Sure.
of people that in this community as well as others.
Right.
In
Okay.
Hancock County down, in Rush County, and some of the counties I'd never lost a race, even a general election in. But of course, they were smaller counties.
Right.
And
Yeah.
You've got access to all the records, the votes. And
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Who was your main opponent when you were running for the state senate?
Well, we had Roger Marsh, who was a good friend of mine. He was in 1976. It was the first year I was nominated. And I was against all of the Republican powers
Right.
in this county and really the state.
Mm-hmm.
So they were opposed to. I didn't have much support with the Republican elite, so to speak,
Sure.
in early on,
Okay.
and they would come around when they thought you were going to win.
Yeah. Funny how that happens.
Then
Yeah.
everybody's there. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
with contributions and all. So, but again, I funded most of the races. The majority of it, we paid. My wife and I paid her.
Right.
Used our own money,
Yeah.
TV ads and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Big investment. Yeah.
And that's probably all public record too, if you look it up.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What was your first election day like for the state senate?
Well, it was interesting. Here was just a young guy that had never been, serving in that. That's the first elective office.
Yeah.
I was precinct committeeman in that local. I've forgotten your last question now.
Oh, that's okay. We were talking about your first election day.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel? Were you optimistic about winning the election?
Well, yeah, I thought we had a real good chance. We had, let's see, well, in the general election, I was running against a 30-year incumbent
Okay.
from,
Yeah.
he lived in Wells County, up in
Okay.
a little town up by
Yeah.
Bluffton, which really, I was from here, the large county, with the votes, so people tend to kind of support the local guy.
Sure. Sure.
And that's basically probably why I won that one.
Yeah.
Going away. I don't remember whether I won Wells County or not.
Right.
I may
Okay.
not have but it was so small compared to
Right.
Randolph and
Yeah.
Delaware and Jay, where I was born and raised.
Sure. Sure.
So that gave me a little advantage there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And but you do things, and you would always do them a little differently than you did at the time. But that's hindsight.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, we got elected, and then I ran for re-election and got beat by another college professor. Bob Park was a
Okay.
Democrat from Ball State. So
Wow.
I haven't had very good luck with running against college professors.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Sounds like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been tough. Yeah. What were you thinking when you walked into the state house your first day?
Well, I'd been there before,
Okay.
for different things.
Right. Was it different since
Not
you
really.
had been
No, it
elected?
wasn't overwhelming at all.
Okay. Sure.
Of course, I'd been, through the White House.
Yeah. Yeah.
Been through the Capitol building in
Yeah.
Washington and
Been around quite a bit.
prior. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Been to some. Let's see. Did I have a? I don't know whether I had an inauguration under my belt that particular time or not, but we've been to a couple of inaugurations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nixon and
Yeah.
stuff. And
That's interesting. Okay.
the same way with the State House. The governors. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when we had primaries instead of we had conventions that nominated state candidates. And
Right.
we still do to a point, but now it's a direct primary,
Okay.
for the big office.
Yeah.
So that was always kind of exciting. So
Yeah,
I've been
definitely.
exposed to that crowd, earlier. And
Right. Yeah, that's neat.
I
Okay.
can't say it was overwhelming, but
Sure.
interesting.
Fair enough.
A
Okay.
little different. Yeah, I replaced a senator that had died in office, and of course the legislature was not in session. Vince Pittenger from Albany
Okay.
had passed away, and so that became an open seat, and it was for a 2-year term.
Mm-hmm.
So I ran for that and won. That's the one I won.
Yeah. Okay.
And Charlie Wise ran for a 4-year term, a
Right.
joint Senate seat.
Okay.
So that's how that came to pass.
Yeah. What were your expectations in regards to the legislative process?
Oh, I thought I could get a lot more done, believe
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
And I just went through, you copied all the things that I'd
Yeah.
got involved with,
Yeah.
which to me was just common sense,
Right.
but being being a novice and kind of naive, thought everybody was, I thought the platform meant what it said.
Yeah.
That was a rude awakening.
Yeah. A lot more complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, well, platform is try to get votes and win elections, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't necessarily stay with what they say.
Right.
My old buddy Dan Burton, who spent a career, and of course he had a very safe congressional seat for many years, and he was always telling me that Bill, he said, you tell people what they want to know and don't worry about it, and do what you want to do when you get in. I said, hey Dan, that's, from where I come from, that's not totally honest.
Yeah.
He said, well, this is politics. I said, well, I don't see any different in my book.
Sure.
And that's where some of my Senate colleagues wound up in federal prison for the same reason.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Phil Gutman, Senate Majority Leader, and Chip Edwards, lawyer from Newcastle, and
Okay.
a couple others, a couple from northwestern Indiana.
Yeah.
And that was a sad, sad deal. They were involved in things that, when they ran that proposition past me, I said, hey, you guys are lawyers and this is fine, but to me it's, if nothing, it's dishonest, if not illegal.
Yeah. Sure.
At the time, I said, I don't want any part of it. So,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't participate.
Yeah.
And then the legislation they were trying to sell vote basically is what it boiled down to. It was
Right.
dishonest. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's pretty clear cut in my book.
Yeah. Yeah. It's smart that you
So I
stayed
said,
away
no,
from that.
no,
Yeah.
thanks, but no thanks. And
Right.
unfortunately, they wound up in losing their law license and
Yeah.
wound up serving time in jail.
Wow.
I don't know whether you looked into that or not.
I think I've heard a little bit about it, but yeah, not as much.
Yeah.
How did you learn the ins and outs of state politics?
Probably didn't learn it too well or well enough. And
Okay.
that's why, I wasn't any more successful in working with the party people. And a lot of it is self-interest. A lot of people are in it for different reasons than I was in it for.
Yeah.
I wanted to just align the tax structure in the state, which Otis Bowen and others after me got done fine. And I think it needs to be redone again the way it looks.
Sure.
We're getting killed out here on taxes,
Yeah.
on property taxes.
Wow.
So I didn't learn it well enough apparently, and the old saying, go along to get along. I never subscribed to that philosophy, but which is not good if you want to have longevity in politics.
Yeah, that's right. So it can be a rough business.
That's right. So that's the way I played the game. And some of my friends said, Bill, you're too honest to be in politics.
Yeah.
So I took that as a compliment.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Kept me out of office probably, but that's all right.
Yeah.
A lot of it's self-serving. A lot of people are wanting to have personal gain from doing it.
Yeah. That does seem to be
problem.
the case,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Another reason I'm a strong supporter of Trump. I mean, he doesn't need the work.
True.
And he has definite goals in mind. Reforming NAFTA. And
Right.
and he's made a lot of promises, and he's kept most of them, if not all. So that's why he's doing what I tried to do.
Did you have any political mentors in the state assembly? Anyone help you out when you first?
Well, not really. I had to make a speech, and the first day I was in the Senate to memorialize my predecessor, Vince Pittenger.
Okay, yeah.
My old buddy Dan Burton, he helped me write a few comments down, which was helpful.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
To get up and speak like that.
Yeah, that's hard.
I assume that's recorded. I don't know what I said, but the family appreciated it,
Yeah.
the Pittenger family. And
Right.
of course, we went to the same church. And
Yeah.
he was
Okay.
a Ford dealer there in Albany, and
Okay.
who
Yeah.
I've known, most of my life. So
Sure.
kind of a family friend too.
Yeah.
But but I wouldn't say that I had anybody that, like some of them that were having ideas that I didn't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like I described the group of people that got in trouble over getting paid to pass certain legislation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
Yeah.
that didn't fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some nice meals at St. Elmo's Steakhouse.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The lobby group that was trying to promote that particular thing
Yeah.
with these senators. And I may have just been a farm boy from out here in the country, but I did learn many, many years ago right and wrong.
Sure. Yeah, that's good.
And I didn't delineate any political thing. Right is right, wrong is wrong,
Right.
regardless of what
Yeah.
scenario you're in
Sure.
trying to promote.
Right. Yeah, you
It
were.
wasn't tough for me at all.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you were interested in playing the political games.
Yep, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that probably kept me out of office. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
which may be a good thing. Who knows?
Yeah. Who
I
knows?
probably wouldn't have lasted long in Congress anyway. From some of these characters that I've met over the years
Sure.
and demonstrated on the television in this
Yeah.
last fiasco,
Yeah.
impeachment,
Yeah.
and to have agencies like the FBI and corrupted like that is really alarming to me. It's when you get corruption like that, that is bad for the country. Hopefully they'll get it straightened out.
When it came to your constituents, how did you communicate with them?
Oh, very, very much. I had a lot of meetings, like town hall kind of things, and
Yeah.
I had a lot of, back in those days you had pages that you invited,
Okay.
and I'd send letters to the schools, and I had more pages probably than anybody ever had.
Okay.
I'd give the kids a chance to come.
Yeah.
So that was one.
That's great.
method I
Yeah.
had, yeah.
Yeah. Neat.
And
Okay.
we had clerical help, and it did a lot of correspondence.
Yeah. What was the first bill you sponsored?
I can't remember. It might have been back in those days. We had a lot of these characters that would start a fire, and then they would shoot at the firemen who came to put the fire out. In the
Oh my
cities,
gosh.
the riot kind of stuff back
Yeah.
in the
Wow.
60s.
Mhm.
All the radical groups that
Yeah.
were going.
Wow.
And I put a bill in. I forgot who the sponsor, my co-sponsors were. You always tried to get a Democrat to help you sponsor your bill.
Sure.
To make a mandatory death penalty for anyone who would kill a policeman or a fireman in the line of duty.
Okay.
They would literally shoot at these people.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You've surely read about that.
I think I've heard a little bit,
The
but yeah.
riots way back. Oh, it was
Yeah.
nasty.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and all these people, most of them like in the West Coast, but all over the country, radical groups. So that was one of them that I put, and I saw that in your list here.
Yeah.
And I had some self-serving things, I guess, the mobile home, in the mobile home business, things I knew about that would
Right.
benefit and not really cost any money,
Sure.
but benefit people in that industry, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking for that list of, yeah, I've got all of my minutes and everything downstairs, but yeah, murder sentence, that was the mandatory for people that shot policemen.
Okay.
And a lot of them, you know, we get off of that stuff. Here's an income tax rates, I forgot what that was, option taxes, mobile home. I wanted to close mobile home sales on Sunday, like car
Okay. Yeah.
dealers. So that didn't fly. Some of these, and I was a big advocate of having people work fines out, that type of thing,
Oh, okay.
for the county good.
Yeah.
Other chain gangs, let's put it that way. You know,
Interesting.
instead of having people sit around in jail,
Uh-huh.
all the debris and things along the roadside, like they do in the South,
Yeah.
have them out, you know,
Cleaning.
cutting weeds
Yeah.
and picking up trash and
Sure.
make it not advantageous to go to jail.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because you go to jail, you're going to you put in a hard day's work,
Right.
not
right.
necessarily breaking rocks with a sledgehammer.
Sure. That's right.
You know, doing things for the good of the community.
Are beneficial.
That type of, yeah, that's what that bill was about.
Okay.
Let's see. And then this was the Vietnam War, of course, and they people were parading up and down with the Viet Cong flags, you know, in Washington and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing, and so it was a display of foreign flags.
Yeah.
It was a thing I was put a bill in for that.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting too.
Yeah, that. Then to help medical school established at Ball State.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Back in those days, the big schools didn't want that. IU.
Oh, really?
Oh no. Everybody's trying to preserve their own turf. You know?
Yeah. Okay. That's right. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, that was one that. Then school buildings. I really caught a lot of flack over that one. You know, you get Wendy's and McDonald's and all the real successful places. They don't have a set of plans for each restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
They have one set,
Yeah.
and they build them and same.
Right.
And I wanted to do that for schools.
Okay.
And boy, did the architects and lawyers really get upset over that deal,
Yeah. Okay.
because they get a huge fee out of this thing.
Sure. Sure.
You know, I said, let's have 2, maybe 3 sets of plans, and you can choose from these
Mm-hmm.
that are already paid for
Yeah.
and build your school.
Yeah.
Don't start from reinvent the wheel every time you build a schoolhouse.
Right.
And that would
Yeah.
have saved millions of
Right.
taxpayer money.
Uh-huh.
You know, architect fees and
Sure.
so on. You've already done that once, so
That's an
you
interesting
don't have
idea.
to do it
Yeah.
again.
Right.
And that
Yeah.
to me was very common sense, but that didn't fly. There's a lot of opposition.
Yeah.
to that.
I could see people getting
Oh
upset.
yeah, because you know there's no big architect fees to collect.
Right.
So that was an interesting one. And police and firemen arbitration, putting a traffic light in my hometown of Albany.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Finally got one.
Yeah. There you go.
We got 1, 2, 3 now.
Okay. Wow.
And repairing the curbs and stuff, you know, and
Sure.
we're on a state highway,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So that's kind of constituent service, and that helped the general public.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things that I worked on.
That's great.
And I sponsored bills with a lot of my Democrat buddies down there that co-sponsored them. So, but I was real frustrated on. That's why I decided after this went through this one term, I wasn't going to even run again.
Okay.
I finally decided to do it, and probably why I lost. You know, I wasn't that enthused.
Sure.
It's boring to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, boring as you can't believe.
Right.
And I was in a lot of meetings when I was running for Congress with Newt Gingrich,
Oh, okay.
old Newt, Mr. Newt.
Yeah.
He's a college professor too.
Yes, right. I know he's got
History
Yeah,
professor.
he's a history professor.
Smart guy, you know.
Yeah.
And I like Newt, but man, oh man, I couldn't stay awake, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that was to me, you know, I like to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get her done. Don't fool around. You know,
Sure.
that's the way I was in the military. That's why I got to be a sergeant in
Yeah.
less than 2 years.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I was a good soldier. Got the highest ratings you could get. And,
That's fantastic.
yeah.
Wow.
Used to train paratroopers. There's some of my stuff
Yeah.
up there.
I remember reading something about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. That's great.
Then on the farm, you know, you get busy. You get, you know, I've accomplished a lot from nothing. You know, I didn't have anything when
Sure.
I started out.
Yeah.
I came to Muncie, I had $500.
Wow.
Started my business. Sold millions of dollars worth. I'll show you my plaques. Okay, where were we?
Let's see. So we were talking about your experience and the state assembly. What was the regular interaction like between different members of the Senate?
Oh, I had some that were a little squeamish on doing things. I mean,
Okay.
it wasn't hard for me to take a stand
Mm-hmm. Sure.
on things.
Yeah.
And some of them were more interested in how's this going to affect, you know, my reelection or
Right.
so on and so on.
Yeah.
And I was the guy that wanted to get the job done
Sure.
and go home.
Yeah.
Very much opposed to annual sessions of the
Okay.
legislature.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Yeah.
turned out to be it. And a lot of my colleagues, they wanted the full-time job. I don't even know what they get paid now. Do you?
I'm not sure actually.
I got $1,800 a year.
Yeah, I think it's more than that now.
Oh,
Sure.
it's
By a
thousands.
lot,
It's
yeah.
a full-time job.
Yeah, yeah,
And they made it that way. There was some in the Senate side that
Yeah.
that's what they wanted to do.
right.
They wanted, like the Congress in the United States, they wanted a full-time job.
Sure.
And that's what it is now.
Yeah.
The travel time, per diem and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I donated all my money to charity that I made.
Oh wow.
$1,800 a year.
Wow. That's amazing.
So I've never made 2 cents from
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah. That's
Whether it be a pay, congressional pay.
that's really impressive.
And I even, one of my campaign issues was I would donate my congressional salary to my scholarship fund.
Yeah. Okay.
So, kind of mini Trump.
Yeah.
I'm not in his league money-wise,
Yeah.
but at
So
that
not
time
quite.
I had some money, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what Congress got paid, but I've spent lots of, you know, skirting $1 million in my scholarship, so.
Sure.
And I would have donated all of my salary
Yeah.
to charity, yeah.
That's great.
And I already did that with my
Right.
Senate in Indianapolis pay.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a retirement. I better check into that. I might be entitled to some retirement. Who knows?
Could be.
At
Yeah.
my age.
Yeah. It could be.
Yeah, at least I get the money and put it into my scholarship fund.
Sure. Sure.
Give it away to the kids. So.
Yeah. That's fantastic. It really is. Let's see. What were the interactions like between Democrats and Republicans?
Well, not bad. I mean, we like some of the guy Mayhole from up north, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of these guys were business people, and we related very well.
Sure.
It wasn't a real cutthroat situation.
Right.
I mean, I caucused, you know, with our people, and
Yeah.
we were in the majority like it is now.
Okay. Yeah.
And you know, being a Democrat in the state Senate is just, well, stay home. You know,
Right.
you can't do anything
Yeah.
if you want to promote something unless you get Republican
That's right. Yeah.
votes to do it.
Yeah.
So I voted pretty well with as long as I felt like it was a legit thing to do. I voted with the party people.
Were you friends with any Democrats?
Pardon?
Were you friends with any of the
Oh,
Democrats?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were good people, you know. And of course, most of them were Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look through my list here.
Sure. Okay.
It's been a while, right?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
long? 60 years?
It's time, yeah.
Long time, yeah. Let me see who. Yeah, here's Jess Andrews, and he's a big husky guy. John Osberger, one of them was in a wheelchair. I forget who that was.
Okay.
Barbara from Indianapolis. Bainbridge from up north, he's a Democrat. Larry Bohr, they're Democrats. I'm looking at the Democrats. Bill Christie and from Hammond up north.
Mm-hmm.
And then old Conrad, he was a character from Terre Haute, Vigo County. Martin Edwards was one of the guys that got in trouble.
Oh, okay, yeah.
From Newcastle. And Les Duvall, he was, just kind of a guy that could go along to get along.
Sure.
There's Bob Fair and Herman Fanning, yeah. John Frick, he and I got along good. He was, he owned an electrical stores.
Oh, okay.
They were business people like me.
Right.
Yeah, and Marshall Kaiser, I think he was the guy from Plymouth. He was a lawyer and a farmer, but I think he was a guy in a wheelchair. And there's old Bernard Conrad, he was a character from Gary, Indiana. He could be a character from there.
Wow.
Old Bob Mayhole, he was a real promoter. He had a retail luggage store. He sold suitcases.
Nice, okay.
Yeah, Bob Mayhole, he was a nice guy. We got along fine. I got along with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob O'Bannon, and his dad, Frank, was the governor.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else said, I got that backwards. Anyway, we sponsored some bills together. He's from Corydon. He had the newspaper down there. Mm-hmm. Bob was the dad, and Frank, his son, became the governor.
Oh, okay.
And he died in office.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
From Corydon, good people. And Bob Orr, of course, was the governor from Evansville. Jim Pulaski from Mount Washington, he was a school principal and a farmer.
Okay.
George Rubin, he's a lawyer from Indianapolis. John Ryan was another attorney down there. He was involved at the banks.
Okay.
Michigan City. Paul Standish. He was did something, I forgot what Paul did. I don't know how many of these guys are still involved. Aldrich. I don't know how many of them are still living. I think Jim Young was another guy that got in trouble from Franklin, lawyer.
Oh, okay.
On that scandal. There's 4 of them.
Wow.
One of them wound up committing suicide. Let me think who he was. Yeah, it was an interesting group.
Yeah.
Old Burton, he was an insurance salesman.
Okay, yeah.
You ever know him? Meet him?
No, I haven't actually. I've been in contact with him, but I haven't been able to schedule an interview yet, so.
Yeah. Yep, he's a piece of work, that boy.
Yeah.
So you get to understand them and know, because you're a pretty tight group, for 61 days. That's how long we met.
Yeah.
Every 2 years.
Right.
So, which is, I think this still should be that way.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough if there's an emergency, they can always call a special session.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But those times are over.
Yeah, things change.
The old boys wanted to get back to the farms early on. That's why it was set up that way originally.
Yeah.
And transportation was way back was a problem.
Right.
Getting back and forth. Then the group come along and they could see how cushy job it was in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they said, we'll just make that the same way in Indianapolis. So they're there all the time, as far as I know, doing committee meetings and
Yeah.
hearings and all that foolishness,
Right.
which is a lot of it is foolishness. Political maneuvering,
Right.
just like the federal Congress,
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
Look at the money that they spent on this impeachment stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So where are we at now?
Let's see. So, in talking about your experiences in the General Assembly, what were the differences between members of the House and members of the Senate?
Well, you have to have, it's set up very similar to the federal Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah.
gotta have bills that have to be approved by both bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So we work in conjunction with them closely.
Sure.
If you wanted to get something
Right.
accomplished.
Of course. Yeah.
So now it's so heavily Republican. It's pretty much a party thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything goes wrong, the Republicans will get the blame, really.
Yeah.
Which is the way it should be. They're in charge.
Sure. What was the process like for you when it came to generating a bill?
Well, we had a agency called I forgot the name
Legislative
of it.
Services?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you give them the ideas, and they have young lawyers and people over there that write them for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put them in
Yeah.
the right language,
Right.
just like this mandatory murders. That was a pretty serious piece
Yeah.
of legislation.
Definitely. Yeah, that is.
So,
That is.
And it was a little too radical for a lot of them. Yeah, I was surprised and disappointed in some of them that just would not go along with things that made total sense, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been illegal to shoot somebody,
Sure.
but I wanted to make a statement
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
these nut groups out here that were
Right.
like starting fires just to get firemen to come to shoot at them.
Sure. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that was it. So I'd say you'd rely on the legislative council, I think they called it, and they were right down the hall, and
Mm-hmm.
you give them some ideas and what you wanted to do, and give them a rough draft and write it
Yeah.
out. And that's what I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Turn it over to them to make it, put all the legalese in it,
Right. Of
made it
course.
presentable,
Yep.
because I wasn't trained, you know, to
Right. Oh
do
yeah.
that
It's
kind
a
of thing.
complex process.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
true. So
Yeah.
that's how we did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't a big deal. You had to move along, 61 days wasn't very long.
Sure. Yeah, it's true. That's not a lot of time.
No.
Yeah. How did you get support for your bills?
I'd go around and strong arm them, you know, to
Sure.
say, hey,
Yeah.
just help me out here, do this. And
Yeah.
some of them would do it, and some of them would leave and not vote,
Okay.
walk
Yeah.
out in the hall.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to take a stand.
That's right. Yeah. Play the political games. Yeah.
Yep, I voted on all mine. I voted them, you know, whenever the vote come up. And
Sure.
I missed some because I was invited to the inauguration with Nixon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And took a train out there, and I got permission from the lieutenant governor, who was president of the Senate, to
Mhm.
be absent because they didn't need my vote anyway.
Right.
We had enough,
Yeah.
a majority, and
Sure. Of course.
so I missed some votes on that.
Do you know anything about how legislative business was conducted outside of formal votes and committees? or-
Well, it's like I told you, some of this stuff that they want me to get involved with,
Mhm.
I'm no part of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I say, I've had some nice meals at St. Elmo's,
Right.
which didn't influence me
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
way or another. So, there's black and white issues as far as I can see.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's what goes on.
Okay.
A lot of lobbying, you know, and lobbyists are
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
You know, they give you a lot of information. They know their subject quite well.
Right. Of course.
And if you look at it in terms of being very objective,
Mhm.
and I was always glad to get the information
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
help make a decision.
Oh, of course. Yeah. That's helpful.
And they do their best to influence you, and short of, you know, giving you cash money.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's
And
right.
the ones that took that wound up in jail, which they should have.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
Right.
Simply put,
Yeah.
I've got all kinds of stuff. Matter of fact, when he was picked to be vice president, the New York Times sent a young guy like you out here, and I knew right away what he was after.
Yeah.
See, I debated Pence heavy on that.
Okay.
On that NAFTA thing.
Yeah.
Because he was supportive.
Yeah.
And that's all we disagreed on.
Right.
Everything else, pro-life, that stuff, we
Sure.
were both the same. And so he sent this New York Times sent this kid out here, and he was looking for anything he could get to jeopardize Pence's opportunity.
Yeah.
So I gave him a nice meal and sent him on his way.
Yeah.
I've got all that stuff.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah,
That is
I've
interesting.
got it all down there in my files.
Were you surprised at all when he was picked to be vice president, or were you?
Pence? No, not really.
Okay, so he was kind of in the loop
That
of
same level as
candidates.
Quayle.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't surprised that, a president don't want somebody that's real notable like a Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
Right.
Trump, he was almost equal,
Yeah. Right.
But I don't think anybody's equal to Trump.
Mm-hmm. And right now he definitely seems the figurehead for
he's
sure.
a man.
Yeah.
He doesn't need any help from a vice president or anybody.
No, it doesn't appear like it. Yeah,
He's going to be a hard act to follow.
Yeah, he's pretty dominant.
He gets reelected, and I don't know whether Pence is. I mean, I know he wants to be president, but I don't know. He's going to have his hands full.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody is.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it is
because
yeah.
Trump's black is black, white is white.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
No in between.
Yeah.
He's a deal maker.
Yeah. Yeah. Did party leadership have any role in influencing people?
Oh, they try to. That's probably what I was not cooperative enough in their view.
Yeah.
And that's basically the people that have raised the big bucks, money. Because that's the whole thing. It just costs so much money to run.
Yeah. Okay.
You're talking, look at this Bloomberg guy.
Sure.
And you can influence a lot of people with that kind of money.
Yeah, it is. That is a
people
good
that don't
example.
pay any attention, they're interested in putting food on the table for their family.
Right.
And, their daily living thing. And
that's right.
politics is way out here and not one of their major concerns.
Right.
It should be, but it isn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. What would you say the public does not know about the Indiana General Assembly and how it operates?
Well, I wouldn't have any idea of what is the Indianapolis media they policed it pretty close. They did. I don't know what they're doing now. But that's what I'm real concerned about. The local press and newspapers, radio, and so on. It's just not something that those media companies seem to be able to do much anymore. Their news arms and that some of it was very fair and some of it was not fair. I mean, especially the national media got so one-sided to the progressive side that it's just not credible, and that's not a good thing for the country. That bothers me a lot.
Yeah, it seems like media organizations have become very focused on agendas.
Oh, they have their own agenda, and that's what, all you got to do is go to the meetings, and this is what the guy said, and put it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, you wouldn't believe the stuff that they've slanted against me.
Yeah.
I've got newspapers. I'm going to publish all that.
Yeah, sure.
That's no question about it cost me some elections. Basically the local newspaper. You get some real. Well, one reporter I know he got fired over what he was trying to do for me, which was just totally dishonest.
Yeah. Wow.
Reporting untruth things.
Yeah.
That wasn't true. Because I funded a lot of my own elections.
Yeah.
And they were putting in articles that just weren't true at all.
Yeah.
And then when I would debate Phil Sharp, I took TV, my own cameras and everything with it. They wouldn't report that at all. because he wouldn't debate me. He just
Yeah.
refuted. One time we did, and I took it to the newspaper and I said, hey, here's the tape. This is what I said. Here's what he said.
Yeah.
And they still didn't publish
Wow.
it.
Man.
Yeah, all the and one instance is where I've got to try to find my canceled checks and so forth.
Okay.
I put an ad in the newspaper of the jobs lost
Okay.
because of NAFTA in eastern Indiana.
Yeah.
And the editor actually rewrote my political ad
Mhm.
to make it less damaging to Phil Sharp
Yeah. Wow.
in my ad.
Wow.
And so the ad was not what I wrote at all.
Right.
Changed my
That's
ad. Can you believe that?
That's really strange. Yeah.
Gee, so I called them up. I said, hey, I want my money back for that ad. And they gave
Yeah.
me my money back.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But,
I mean, that's
the
crazy.
damage was already done, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it was unreal. I think I've got a copy of that little card I used to show you the jobs that's been lost and
Yeah.
due to the NAFTA and
Wow.
Phil Sharp's support of these things. So I've had a lot of personal experience with this stuff.
Yeah. Sounds like it. That's.
Oh yeah, it's a nasty business.
Yeah.
So that's why the news people just, I listen to Limbaugh and I listen to Fox
Sure.
and sort it out because the other people don't tell the truth and that's sad.
Mhm.
Not good. No, I mean, if the guy's wrong, if Trump's wrong, put it out there. Let the people decide.
Sure. Yeah.
He's not always right,
Mhm.
or correct on these statistics.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, they're busy with their own lives. They're not going to take time to. That's the job of the newspaper,
Right.
in my view.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, they should. So I've been. I'll give you another story.
Okay.
The Republicans. This was I was running against a guy in the primary called McIntosh. He became a congressman.
Mhm.
And then he wanted to run for governor and he got trumped there. Anyway, I got a mailing list from the Republican State Committee.
Okay.
And I sent they were going to put the addresses on my political material to mail out.
Mhm.
And of course we had checks around to know whether it got mailed or not. Anyway, the bottom line is I paid them the postage. I gave several thousands of dollars, for postage. And they were going to mail those for me.
Mhm.
They got mailed all right into the dumpster.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wow.
in politics, in private business, I'd have sued them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Politics, at
Yeah.
least got my money back. I did get my money back from the newspaper here.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, that's where my brochures went.
Okay.
And that was a real close race. And he won. Of course, it was a sure thing in the district,
Right.
Republican district. And I forget what year that was. That was after 2000 when I ran in the primary against him.
Yeah.
So that's the little dirty tricks the Republican side.
Yeah. Interesting. That is very interesting.
I don't know who the state chairman was at that time, but they were all in bed for McIntosh,
Mhm.
So that's a little
Okay.
tidbit there for you.
How did your legislative service or political life affect your family, if at all?
Not now.
Okay.
No, it hadn't changed my standard of living. That's where you don't want to do it.
Right.
A lot of friends of mine have run
Mhm.
and actually went broke.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Spending money they didn't have.
Yeah, I'd be careful about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, no, if you don't change your standard of living and all, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's what I always tried to do.
Sure.
And they were with me most of the time, you know, they would go.
Yeah, okay. That's
My wife
good.
wasn't that fired up about it, she didn't,
Yeah.
because they didn't treat her decent, you know,
Yeah, it's hard, yeah,
when
that's going on.
oh yeah, the other side, you know, scowl at you, you know, I cared less myself, but I
Yeah.
didn't like for her to be mistreated,
Yeah, that's too bad.
treated rudely.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, it happens. Like I say, it's a nasty business.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of good people don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. What were the most controversial legislative issues during your time in the Assembly?
Well, can't think of any that in my time that was really would pack the state house, you know, like my friend up in Wisconsin,
Yeah.
that governor, you know, and the
Okay.
stuff that he got into.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I could hang my hat on anything particular that would be really where you'd have people carrying signs and so on.
Sure.
Of course, so much of mine was, to me, just common sense.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to protest against killing of a policeman or a fireman?
Right. Right.
In the line of duty. Those kinds of things.
Yeah. What piece of legislation that you worked on took the most of your time?
Well, 61 days, there wasn't much time
Okay.
to work on things, so
So they're all equal then, I guess, in terms of time.
yeah, I would say it's pretty much across the board about the same.
Mm-hmm.
Present the bill and then try to get your colleagues to support it.
Yeah. What was your proudest moment as a legislator?
Well, I can't pick one particular thing out, to be honest with you.
Sure. Okay, that's fine.
I just, you know, was honored to be able to serve and,
Yeah.
yeah, represent the people out here.
Yeah, that's great.
And I got a lot of compliments from, especially on that architectural bill for schools, you know, to help save money.
Yeah.
A lot of Democrats that say that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it takes a lot of money to promote that in the public,
Yeah.
generally speaking,
Yeah.
and to get ideas out.
A lot of pieces to that puzzle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because I had specifics, you know, this is what it is, and there wasn't any doubt where I stood on the thing, and tried to point out what it would do. But it takes a lot of money to promote any idea.
Yes. Yeah. What was the biggest hurdle for you during your time in office?
Yeah, I didn't find it was difficult for
Okay.
anything that I did.
Yeah.
It was just kind of routine and.
Sure. Okay. What, in your opinion, is the most important work for the Indiana General Assembly?
The important work for
the most important job of the Indiana General Assembly?
well to maintain the finances of the state, which
Yep.
they're doing. We got surplus, and
Mm-hmm.
they're doing a phenomenal job now, as we did too.
Yeah.
So, what's the debt and the spending?
Sure. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean, anything that you can do to have balanced budgets, and of course
course.
we have to have in Indiana. That's a statute,
Yeah.
constitutional,
Yeah.
in the state constitution, not going in debt.
Right.
After we went broke over the canal projects back in the
Yeah. I remember hearing about that. Yeah.
state went broke. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That. Yeah.
that's like California.
Yeah.
They're below broke.
Mm-hmm.
Illinois is in about the same shape.
Yeah.
Mismanagement.
Yeah.
Yep, a lot of big spenders in those areas, and this country is not far behind, because you take in the 20 trillion range, that's an awful lot of money.
Yeah. That is a lot. Yeah.
We have a huge economy and all, but you know, nobody's above going broke.
Right. Yeah. It's
even
not,
the United States of
well, yeah,
America.
that's right. Just look at history. You know. It's,
That's right.
yeah.
It's happened before.
No one's immune to disasters. So.
So, when we got an opportunity growing our economy and stopping some of these trade deals that have been so one-sided
Mm-hmm.
that really put the United States at a big disadvantage.
Sure.
You know, you're talking Trump's brought in billions, hundreds of billions of dollars just on the tariffs with China and so on
Mm-hmm.
to get it more equitable, you know.
Yeah.
We can't afford to rebuild the economies of all these countries, which we
Right.
pretty well did that with China.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep,
A lot of foreign aid.
yep. We got to look after our welfare first.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be able to help people when they really get in trouble.
Sure. Sure. How would you summarize your time overall as a state legislator?
Well, it's a lot of work. You know, you stayed here. I didn't stay down there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an hour drive, you know, from
Yeah.
back in that's before Interstate 69.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was partially built, but that's a big problem too, is maintaining our roads and all, and it's a big expense in this part of the world.
Yep.
Freeze and thaws, and we're going to have a big freeze in the next few days.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hard on pavement.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They get chopped up. Yeah.
Yeah, Purdue's got to get in gear and get some engineering going on how to keep and maintain these roads,
Yeah.
which is a responsibility of the legislature.
Oh yeah.
beyond.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hire the right people.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite story or anecdote from your time as a legislator?
No, not really. I've related some of the bad things, you know, about throwing out my mailings and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just truly dishonest stuff.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any big anecdote things, stories to tell.
Okay.
What was
Yeah, that's fine.
interesting, and again, that's been a long time ago.
Right, of course. What lessons, if any, did you learn from your time there?
Well, you know, honesty pays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, straight shooter.
Yeah, yeah.
I want you to hear Pence's comments. And
Yeah, that'd be good, yeah.
your word has to be your bond,
Yeah,
and
sure.
that's not true with the National Congress, which is really frightening.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these characters, like my friend Dan Burton,
Yeah,
tell them what you want them to hear and
Yeah.
do what you. I said,
Yeah.
Dan, that's dishonest.
yeah.
That's politics.
Yeah, a lot
Quote, unquote.
yeah,
I remember that. That's managed to stay in office and get reelected many times. So,
mm-hmm.
if you want to call that success,
Sure.
it'd be interesting for you to catch him, interview him.
I would like to. I reached out to him. I talked to him over the phone once, and then I wasn't able to reach him again after that. So I was able to send him some information, but I haven't been able to reconnect since.
Well, this is not going to do him any good. When he's got a cush retirement, believe me.
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't believe what those guys get.
Yeah.
Probably makes more now than he made as congressman.
Wow.
Not just him, all of them.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, I remember when the United States Congress became a $1 billion expenditure.
Mm-hmm.
Not too many years ago. And
Yeah.
Before that, it was fairly reasonable.
Sure.
But I mean, it's gotten so far out of hand, it's pathetic.
Wow.
That's why term limits is an absolute, but you'll never get those clowns to vote for term limits.
Yeah, that's a tough proposition.
Well, look at all of them that go in, just average people
Mm-hmm.
making, you know, $40,000-$50,000 a year, come out multi-millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hazard, or in jail.
Yep.
Is he the Republican Speaker of the House? Is he still in prison, or you know, on his real estate deals?
Yeah.
Dennis Hassard. Where are you from?
I'm from Kansas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Bob Dole pretty well.
Yeah, Bob Dole. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I got pictures of him down here.
Wow. Okay.
The old WW2 guy.
Yeah.
That's the guys that trained me in my military.
Wow. Okay.
See, I was 10 years after the Second War.
Yeah.
So the veterans that stayed in were taught us young guys.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
So anyway, they come out, you know, multimillionaires.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm a commodity trader on Chicago Board of Trade. I trade futures up there.
Mm-hmm.
And old Hillary, she never lost anything, you know, trading cattle futures.
Mm.
I mean, pure dishonest,
Mm.
crooked, just like robbing a bank.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, the ethics are very, very stringent on the people that are floor brokers like me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if there's a mistake made, you're guilty and you have to prove you're not guilty, regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Right, of course.
And that's where your word's your bond up there.
Yeah.
Of course, now it's electronic. If you have to hit the wrong button, you're...
That's right. Yeah.
But used to it was, you know, hand signals and all that stuff.
Sure. Did you have any regrets as legislator?
Not really, just that I couldn't get more done.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Makes
it's
sense.
just, I wasn't cut out, I guess, to be for the, I'd probably be more bored in the Congress if I'd ever got elected to that.
Sure.
I mean, it's just frustrating. You know all the needs that need to be addressed
Yeah.
and then not be able to get it done
Right.
because of petty bickering and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of our system.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you have to know that going in.
Sure.
If you don't want to do it, don't run.
What advice would you give to future legislators or even current legislators?
Well, just like I say, be honest, and there's no, politics is not an excuse to be dishonest.
Yeah.
And tell somebody something, you know, do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Makes sense.
basically what I'd tell them to do.
Yeah.
Just basic, fundamental, common decency. You know?
Sure. Yeah. How has the state of Indiana changed over the course of your lifetime?
The Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
well, they've gone professional legislature.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bad thing in my book.
Yeah.
I'd like to see judges elected instead of appointed. And, you know, we get a vote, yes or no on them. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
I didn't go for that, and I certainly didn't go for annual sessions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like to see, and they'd call that antiquated, I guess, or old-fashioned to meet like we used to.
Sure.
But there's always ways, you know, you've got administrators, people who administrate the highway department and oversee all those things. You put the right people in.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a bunch of politicians butting in all the time.
Sure. Sure.
Hire good people and let them get it done.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, politics impedes it a lot of times.
Yeah. That's a fair assessment. Yeah.
Slows it down. Yep. I can't believe the complex they got down there now, you know, the
Yeah.
buildings and
Yeah.
how it's built up around.
Yeah. It is. It's
Just
yeah.
like the federal government.
It is pretty impressive. Yeah. It's
Yep.
it's a lot bigger than the one I've seen in Kansas, for example. So.
Spent a lot of money and they're not the federal government is not a good example.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to run the state.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. How has I guess you've already kind of answered that one. Do you think politics has changed much over time in Indiana?
Not really. I think it's
Okay.
still basically, you know, there's a lot of good people that want to get involved and do something, and
Yeah.
just like our recent election here in the city of Muncie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just hated to see Dennis get into the trouble he got into.
Yeah.
Of course, he hadn't had a trial yet, but it doesn't look good.
Sure.
So, but that Muncie's got a history of that. Speaking about the local stuff,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
and yeah, I've known all these mayors, and matter of fact, Most of them have been out here for dinner time or two at my house.
Yeah, okay.
But Democrat and Republican.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I stay in touch with them.
That's great, okay.
But yeah, the community needs all the support it can get. And they do too. It's a big job,
Yeah,
even at local level, you know.
sure.
A lot of responsibility.
What, if any, enduring qualities do Hoosiers still have or hold dear?
Relative to what?
I guess, what do you think is something about people from Indiana that really hasn't changed much over time?
Oh, that's true, yeah. They're really the backbone of the country, the whole Midwest.
Yeah.
You're part of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I've known people all over, and it's, yeah, you can believe what they say, and they say what they believe, and just basic honesty
Yeah. Okay.
is the bottom line.
Yeah.
Basic biblical principles, you know, that's what the country was founded on.
Sure.
It's all through the Constitution, so
Mm-hmm.
you got to have a good book of rules, and we got one if we'd follow it.
What do you want Hoosiers to know about their role in relation to the function of the General Assembly?
Well, it's one that I think that's gotten too large, number one, by having full-time legislators.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't that much going on that hasn't always gone on in this part of the world
Right. Right.
that we couldn't be done with less expense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And so, what would you want, like, the public to do to make things show their role in the legislative process?
Well, stay involved. Make sure you vote and stay in contact with your representatives and
Yeah.
senators, whoever they are, even
Sure.
city people, and that's why I'm very involved with all the elected officials. And
Yeah. Okay.
most people care less, you know, unless they've got some personal thing,
Yeah.
axe to grind, so to speak.
Yep. Yeah, that
Yeah,
happens.
stay involved and be aware of what's really going on, because we're all on this boat together, and
Yeah.
government is very necessary and our form of government's been the most successful the world's ever known.
Yeah. Yeah.
The representative republic.
Yeah. It's,
And,
I mean, yeah.
And
Pretty
that's
amazing.
why I'm so concerned about agencies like the the FBI and all of the foreign intelligence services that we have in this country being corrupted by politics and agendas. It's like the news media. That's
Right.
really a tragedy in my view. I think we
Sure.
ought to get that.
Yeah. You want things to be nonpartisan.
Nope. Be truly nonpartisan.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got an opinion, but that if you're in the news business, report the news.
Right. Right.
Period.
Yeah, it is amazing, how many opinion pieces now dominate
Oh
the
yeah.
news.
Hey, that's what an editorial page is for.
Yeah.
I don't object to editorializing. That's fine. That's
Yeah.
a very important function of the press. But they don't editorialize in a news story.
Yeah, it's become mostly just opinions. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bad part of it.
Let's see. So that's pretty much all the questions that I have. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay.
I always would after the fact, but
Yeah.
not off the top of my head. I'll get, if I get busy and take enough time off from hanging around the farm and start doing I'll show you my material. You
Yeah.
wouldn't believe.
That'd be great.
I've got,
All right. Well,
lots of stuff.
I'll go ahead and turn off the recordings then.
Yeah, shut that thing off.